G'day, Ken here. Welcome to episode 3. Well, the great news is we got a building permit. So we are underway on site, and what we're doing at the moment is cutting windows and putting windows in. So we've cut all our openings just using angle grinders. This is the big one that's going into what'll be the kitchen. There's still a container that's got to go on top of here. But yeah, we found it easier just to use angle grinders. 2 we used. The big 125mm one. That's for cutting some fairly thick when you get to close to the corners. But most of the time we just use the small one with a 1mm blade, and it actually just cuts through like butter. So while most of the sea container you're cutting through is fairly thin, up to about 3mm, and the 1mm smaller angle grinder gets through really quite easily. If you do get closer to the edges of the thick containers, some of it gets really quite thick, and you're starting to get up to 5mm cutting through, which takes a little bit of time. So we went for the 125mm diameter one, and you just got to take your time and get it cut through. So I'm just using standard aluminium window frames. They are a slightly bit different because they're set up for using with frame construction, which we don't do a lot of here in WA. Now I've gone for a particular type of look, and I want the frame to finish flush in up against the sea container. So it required a little bit of working out. What I've done on the window frames is measured the corrugations on the sea containers so that I make sure that the edges occur on one of the outward corrugations, and then all I have to do is to flash the top and flash the bottom, and it should look fairly neat and tidy. So some of the things you do need to watch out for when you do cut the containers, you'll find that the actual walls get a little bit weak. They don't hold their form. So on this one here, it just bows a little bit. You can see that the window sticks out a little bit. So what we'll have to do is get onto the inside and probably just weld some angle iron onto it so it holds up fairly straight. So these are the standard aluminium frames that you get. We do a lot of double brick here in WA, so they have this fin in the middle that gets built into the brickwork. Now when you're using timber frame, what happens is you would put your framing there, and then the window would then just fix directly onto the outside of the framing. Now I've also got a face plate on these windows installed, which is this little bit here, which is an add-on. So that just, you actually buy them that way, and that actually just clips onto the frame. So what happens is that when I fix these, and I'm fixing directly to the containers, and I'll show you how I'm doing that, they give you this gap here where if you're cladding, then you put your framing for your cladding, your pearl and battens for your cladding, and slip your cladding in behind here, so you get that nice flush finish of the window frame up against the cladding. So like I said, I want this framing to hit hard up against the sea container. So what I've had to do inside is to actually fit on these little rectangular hollow sections onto the inside, and this is where it's good that I've actually set the framing up, or the window sizes up, so they meet on the outside frame. And then I'll just have put these little blocker pieces on, and this is the clip that slides over this flashing moulding on the window, and it just clips over there and just fixes it through so it holds it nice and sturdy. Now I have had to cut all of these down because these are normally built out the same width of the trim face, so I've had to go along and just cut all those down by about 20 mils overall, so 10 mils each side. So what I will do now is I'll cut this sea container up just a little bit higher than this line here, probably about 2 or 3 mils, and then I'll slide in a flashing with a little lip on it that folds down over to there, and then that'll go inside and up the back of the sea containers to stop all this water that at the moment can come down here and get into the house. So the 20-foot containers that I used here, there is a shortage at the time of used 20-foot high cubes, and to buy them new they were about $5,500. So I did get onto what these ones here are, and these are second-hand 20-foot high cubes, but they call these bunkers. So what they've done is these are specially designed to carry grain. So whereas normal sea containers have a timber floor, these actually have a steel floor, and up on the ceiling they have little hatches to get the grain in, and I'll give you an outside shot, and inside they also have little hatches at the base around there, and also little hatches on the door. So you can see here apart from Jemima there, the little hatches on the outside, and I'm not too worried about these because this container here is going to be pretty much exposed, so they'll just be fine. So you can see here the hatches on the inside. Now that's not going to worry me because I'm going to be putting a ceiling in here, so the actual ceiling will be sitting down about 120, 130 mils of that, so you know, that's fine. So one of the things you do need to be conscious of, when I brought these containers on site, I had 5 containers arriving on the same day, and I hired out a 25-ton Franna crane to bring them on site, and those containers were coming from 3 different places. So I got the 3 first ones in really good, but the last 2, which were coming from one place, got held up, and they were supposed to be on site at 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock, but the first one didn't arrive till about 5 o'clock, and the last one wasn't going to get here till about 6 o'clock at night, or 6:30 at night, so I cancelled that one. Meanwhile, I'm paying $350 an hour for the crane to be, and the rigger and the driver to be sitting on the side of the road. So coordinating your containers getting on site is very important. The other thing that I got caught with is that once I got 4 of the containers on, I still had the other one on. That's when the local council got me to stop doing building. So my container sat at the container place for about 2 months while we sorted it all out. Now when I finally got around to wanting it back, they had gone and sold it. Apparently they only sit around there for three days. So what I had to do, by that time the price of the containers had gone up about $1,500. So the $3,200 that I paid for the 40-foot containers jumped up to $4,000. I had to pay another $1,500, so the last one cost me about $4,700 to get that last 20-foot container. And that one I haven't got on site yet. It's actually sitting at a friend's place not too far away, so once I'm all ready for that, I'll coordinate the delivery of that one and the crane a little bit better and save it. So that's it for episode 3. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you hopefully very shortly for episode 4. Until then, take care.